In the beginning, when you allow, you start saying, okay, well, that's okay. We'll just do it like that. Hope you get enjoy because not that it is that it, but so we start off little by little, little by little, little by little. And also, again, I talked about, for example, Tehran or other Iranian cities. 10 years ago, we started off, we see a little hair out front, oh my God, whatever. And now, believe me, even myself, not long ago, and I saw this person, and she was in a long manteau and totally covered scarf. And I asked my son, I said, I wonder where she's from, because unfortunately, either you'll have like chador and that hijab, or you will have the scarf that used to be back, that's now on the neck, okay, and here. And here, I see, for example, second generation parents who I knew from before, very much into everything, and I saw their kids probably 10, 15 years ago. I think that's when the ear thing started. So it was just the ear thing going at first, then the neck thing came with it, and now a lot of them is totally off, because you know what? When you take that first step, the second step is a little bit easier, the third step, fourth step, fifth step is easy. So what is happening then? So if one young person starts in the community, and if the other girl say, oh, that's not bad, oh, that's an interesting style, whatever. Or are those girls going to say, what's going on with you? What's happening? We need to talk. Are you having issues? Are you having problems? Let's talk about it. But if you go along with it, oh, that's kind of cool. Oh, that was good. That's whatever. And then little by little, another one comes, and another one. Because then we've accepted it. This is very important. I want our young people to understand their responsibility with their friends. And this is part of our faith, our amr bil ma'ruf. We have to help each other. We're there to help each other. And a lot of times, because we're living in this individual world, it's her choice or whatever. Yeah, it's not right, but that's what she chooses to do. We don't believe that. Actually, if you care about her, you want to really help her, not sin, and not have to face something much more difficult in that next world. So if you're a real friend, if you're a real sister, if you're a real brother, then you'll help each other. You will not look the other way if your Muslim brother says, oh, I tried this club, I went there one time, or whatever. You're going to say, no, why did you do that? Don't do it. Not just, oh man, you should have done that. Really? That's it? We are responsible not only for ourselves, but for each other. That's a community. If we look the other way, that's not a community. That's the individualism that the greater society says they believe in. That's not what we believe in. That's not Islam. It's an ummah. We're all together. We have to care about each other. And I think that's what we're lacking right now. We're just letting everybody do their own thing instead of trying to help each other.
Of course, we have a responsibility to address all the issues. We cannot ignore, and this is very important, because a lot of times it may be cultural. There are things that you're coming from Iraqi culture, Iranian culture, Lebanese culture, whichever culture, that maybe your parents didn't talk to you about and you shouldn't talk about, or you feel that way. But guess what? We're living in the U.S. You have to talk about it. It's not going to go away. So if you don't talk about it, others are going to talk about it. So you set the scenario that you want to set early on. You have to have, one, open communications. This is with your kids, grandkids, or whatever. And two, as a community, not be afraid to address issues. We're Muslims. We're not afraid to address issues. We feel that Islam has the answer to it all. Whether we know the answer personally or not, then we need to talk about it. But Islam has the answer, so why are we afraid to address it? If we don't say, okay, so this is the way we should deal with A, B, and C. What do you think about it? And they'll say, well, it's difficult because school, because this, because that. You open up that conversation. You have these meetings at the masjid or at the centers. You have the debates. You listen to the kids. You understand what they're going through. Because we don't know. We're not in high school. We're not in junior high. We're not in elementary school. So you listen to them. Let them tell you what they're going through, and the whole community addresses it. But don't ignore it. It will not go away. There are several things that I've learned. First and foremost, I really want us to understand, I'm talking to my sisters now, as women, I will reiterate it again, there is nothing more important than having good families, raising good children. It is number one. And let us not forget that that's our primary responsibility. So that's very important. Marry, have children, raise them well. Okay? And a lot of times, I say this because I speak in Iran also, and I tell I go to universities, whatever, and I talk to our young women, and I say, okay, so this year from the concours, I think 65% are females or whatever, and they'll start clapping and whatever. And I said, really? Is it good? Like, yeah, it's great. Really? Is it? That 65% of our university students or 70% are female? I said, so, who are you going to marry? Because when you get that bachelor's, you're not going to marry the guy with the high school diploma usually. You get that master's, you're not marrying the one with the bachelor's. And you get that PhD, you're not going to marry somebody. I mean, this is the whole cultural thing. So who are you going to marry? Why is it good? No, it's not good, actually. It takes things out of balance. Islam is a balance. And we've lost that balance. And this is why we have the problems that we have. Obviously, I'm not against education. Obviously, I'm not against career. I'm just saying we have to remember that this is number one. Of course, education is great. And obviously, I think education is very important, like going into teaching and being able to set up our own schools. We are losing our kids in schools. The kids are there, 7, 8 hours a day. Right? I don't know, they go to school 7, 8 in the morning till 3, 4, and that's if they don't have after-school activities or whatever. They come home, it's winter, it's already dark. They probably, I don't know, do a little homework if they do it, or PlayStation or whatever. Not a whole lot of time to be communicating with mom or dad, going to sleep and back into that the next day. How much of an influence are you really having on them? So I think it's great if we can set up our own schools and set it up well. We have various responsibilities, obviously. Again, because media is my thing, because getting information out is my thing, and I like to see more and more people getting involved in alternative media and playing a role in that, because we have to speak for ourselves. No one else is going to speak for us. So if we just accept it and sit back, then we're going to continue to get what we're getting. So we are the ones that have to implement the change, no matter which field we're talking about. We have to make a difference. And we have to see how that can fit in to the whole realm of Islam. Hold on to your imam. It's very difficult, I understand. Hold tightly. Fight for it. Value what you have. And have no fear. Fear Allah. Fear Allah. And go forward from there.